Hello learners, welcome to lecture 43. In our last session, we explored group work in reproductive and child health, education and awareness, highlighting the power of collective dialogue and peer learning. Today, we move one step further, social action and advocacy for reproductive and child health rights. While group education builds knowledge and solidarity, social action and advocacy translates this awareness into systemic change. They aim to influence policies, challenge inequalities, and secure rights for women, children, and families. In this lecture, we will examine strategies, examples, and challenges of advocacy in RCH. Social action is the process of mobilizing communities to demand change, while advocacy focuses on influencing decision makers to respond to those demands. Together, they bridge the gap between awareness and actual improvements in services. Advocacy ensures accountability, making governments and institutions responsible for promises made under national policies or global commitments. RCH requires a right based approach where access to service is not seen as a charity but as an entitlement. Advocacy in RCH plays a vital role in ensuring policies are not just written but actually implemented. It amplifies the voices of vulnerable groups, women in rural areas, adolescents, marginalized populations, castes, and people living with HIV, who might otherwise be overlooked or secluded. Advocacy also promotes equity by pushing for fair distribution of resources and services, ensuring that the poorest and the most excluded benefit equally. Advocacy in RCH plays a vital role in ensuring policies are not just written but actually implemented and they reach the people for whom they are made. It amplifies the voices of vulnerable groups. Example, women in rural areas, adolescents, marginalized populations, and people living with HIV who might be excluded if not taken care of. Advocacy in RCH plays a vital role in ensuring policies are not just written but actually implemented. It amplifies the voices of vulnerable groups like women in rural areas, marginalized populations, people living with HIV, or adolescents who might otherwise be excluded. Advocacy also promotes equity by pushing for fair distribution of resources and services, ensuring that the poorest and the most needy are not excluded from the benefits. Advocacy in RCH plays a vital role in ensuring policies are not just written but also actually implemented. Social action is the collective effort of communities to bring about change. In RCH, they may involve mobilizing women's groups to demand better maternal care, organizing protests against denial of services, or conducting campaigns for immunization and nutrition. Social action emphasizes bottom up change, empowering the communities at the peripheral levels to hold the systems at the top accountable and assert their rights. Effective advocacy is grounded in key principles. It must be evidence based, using data and stories to highlight gaps and solutions. Inclusivity ensures the voices of marginalized groups are heard directly, not just spoken of. Advocacy should rely on non-violent, constructive engagement, balancing assertiveness with collaboration. These principles lend legitimacy and sustainability to advocacy efforts. Building on this, we stress on intersectionality and structural determinants. We should disaggregate data by gender, caste, class, religion, disability, age, and location so that both structural violence and everyday inequalities become visible and addressable. To move from tokenism to shared power, apply Einstein's ladder of citizen participation and Gavanta's power cube. Co-create agendas with affected groups, resource their participation, and rotate spokespersons to democratize voice. For message legitimacy, blend quantitative indicators with narrative inquiry. Couple survey or administrative statistics with ethically collected testimonials. Obtaining informed consent, anonymizing identifiable details, and practicing do no harm safeguarding. Tactically anchor campaigns in non violent repertories. Petitions, public hearings, citizens' juries, and deliberative forums, while preserving channels for negotiation in the public sphere and recognizing counter public where marginalized groups articulate their claims. Define asks that are specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound, that is smart. Map power holders and allies and pre commit to monitoring and evaluation with clear indicators of policy adoption, budget shifts, service coverage, grievance redressal time. Finally, institutionalize accountability and learning, publish methods and funding sources, pre register fact sheets, conduct after action reviews, and close the feedback loop by reporting back to the communities. Practicing participatory action that sustains trusts, coalitions, and long term impact. Advocacy in reproductive and child health covers a wide range of areas. Reducing maternal mortality remains a key priority, requiring advocacy for emergency obstetric care and skilled birth attendants. Universal access to contraception ensures reproductive choices for all. Child immunization and nutrition need constant advocacy to secure funding and coverage. Finally, gender equality must be integrated into all RCH services to address systemic discrimination. Building on this, frame RCH advocacy as a right based, equity oriented agenda that targets structural determinants and tracks progress with disaggregated indicators such as maternal mortality ratio, neonatal mortality ratio, infant mortality rate, under 5 mortality rate, and contraceptive prevalence rates. For maternal survival, push for 24/7 comprehensive emergency obstetric and newborn care. Functional referral and transport, blood availability, respectful maternity care, and maternal and perinatal death surveillance and response with public reporting. On contraception, insist on informed choice and a balanced method mix. Removal of financial and socio-cultural barriers and adolescent friendly services with privacy and consent safeguards. For immunization and nutrition, pair budget advocacy with last mile delivery fixes like cold chain reliability, micro planning for underserved clusters, community health protection linkages, while combating misinformation through trusted intermediaries. Integrate gender equality across all touchpoints by training providers on bias and violence screening, ensuring safe spaces and adopting participatory accountability tools so marginalized groups co-design solutions and monitor services. Define SMART. Policy asks, example, reduce stockouts to less than 2% in 12 months. Achieve more than 90% full immunization coverage in high burden blocks and map power holders, allies, and veto points to guide non-violent constructive engagement. Finally, the loop with transparent data sharing, after action reviews, and feedback to the communities. So, advocacy strengthens trust, coalitions, and the long term sustainability of RCH gains. Advocacy uses a variety of tools to influence decision makers and mobilize support. Policy briefs and position papers present evidence and recommendations in a concise, actionable form. Media campaigns raise public awareness and build pressure for reform. Community scorecards allow citizens to rate services, making performance gaps visible. These tools strengthen advocacy by combining data, stories, and public accountability. Building on this, frame each tool through a sociological lens, use agenda setting and framing theory to align briefs and media messages with how audiences already interpret problems while deliberately centering counter narratives from marginalized groups. Apply Kingdom's multiple streams. Time or brief to policy windows. Pair it with focused ask and map policy entrepreneurs who can carry it inside institutions. For media, leverage the two-step flow. Equip trusted intermediaries with ready-to-share assets to diffuse messages through networks. Treat community scorecards as social accountability mechanisms. Co-design indicators and with residents guarantees safe participation and negotiate public commitments from officials and timelines and budgets. Finally, monitor influence using mixed methods, policy citations, media research, changes in budget, line items, surface quality scores, and close the feedback loop by reporting the findings back to the communities to sustain their trust and collective efficacy. Social workers are frontline advocates in RCH. They amplify the concerns of marginalized groups and bring them to the attention of the authorities. They build alliances and with other stakeholders, including NGOs, health providers, and local leaders. Social workers also monitor whether policy commitments are translated into real change on the ground, bridging the gap between communities and systems. Community led advocacy has proven powerful in driving RCH progress. Women's groups have successfully lobbied for new health centers or improved maternal services. Adolescent groups have pushed for sexual and reproductive health education in schools. Local campaigns against child marriage highlight how communities can influence cultural practices and legal enforcements. These grassroots efforts made advocacy authentic and impactful. NGOs play a very vital role in RCH advocacy by supporting community mobilization and linking it with larger policy debates. At national and global levels, NGOs lobby for increased funding, better laws, and international commitments. They also build capacity at the grassroots, training communities in advocacy skills and providing platforms for marginalized voices to be heard. Advocacy for maternal health often focuses on improving access to emergency obstetric care and ensuring respectful maternity services. Campaigns emphasize the need to prevent maternal deaths by holding governments accountable for investments in health infrastructure, skilled providers, and referral systems. Advocacy also addresses rights violations such as neglect or abuse in maternity wards. Child health advocacy highlights the importance of universal immunization and adequate nutrition. Advocacy campaigns press for uninterrupted supply chains, accountability for immunization drives, and strengthening of ICDS services. Calls for ending preventable child deaths focus on improving care for pneumonia, diarrhea, and neonatal infections, ensuring no child dies from treatable conditions. Adolescents often lack access to appropriate health services and education. Advocacy emphasizes the need for comprehensive sexuality education in schools delivered in age appropriate and culturally sensitive ways. It also calls for adolescent friendly health services that are confidential and accessible. Delaying early marriage remains a key advocacy priority to protect adolescent girls' health and rights. Media plays a crucial role in advocacy. Mass media, including television, radio, and newspapers, raise awareness about maternal and child health issues on a large scale. Media plays a crucial role in advocacy. Mass media, including television, radio, and newspapers, raise awareness about maternal and child health issues on a large scale. Social media platforms are increasingly used to organize campaigns, engage youth, and put pressure on policymakers. By shaping public opinion, media creates an environment where leaders are compelled to act. Community scorecards and social audits are participatory advocacy tools. Communities assess the quality of health services, rating issues such as availability of staff, supplies, and respectful care. Findings are shared publicly in forums with health officials. This transparency creates pressure for corrective action and accountability, making services more responsive to community needs. Advocacy is most effective when groups come together in coalitions. Partnerships between NGOs, civil society organizations, professional bodies, and even progressive government agencies amplify collective voices. Coalitions share resources, expertise, and credibility, making advocacy campaigns more powerful and sustainable. Examples include maternal health alliances or immunization partnerships. Coalitions work through resource mobilization and network effects. Diverse actors pool legitimacy, date, relationships, and grassroots reach to overcome the limits of any organization. Use the advocacy coalition framework and collective impact design. Agree on common agenda, shared indicators, mutually reinforcing activities. Regular communication and a backbone organization that coordinates without dominating. We can formalize collaboration with clear roles, decision rules, and MOU that specify data sharing, authorship, funding flows, and safeguarding. Guard against power imbalances by rotating spokespersons, budgeting for participation of marginalized groups, and creating dedicated caucuses that can veto tokenism. Plan a joint advocacy calendar tied to policy windows. Align media protocols to avoid mixed messages and pre agree on red lines to maintain non-violent, constructive engagement. Measure coalition effectiveness with mixed methods like policy citations, budget allocations, coverage gains, reduced stockouts, and qualitative shifts in gatekeeper attitudes. Then report back to communities to sustain trust. When done well, maternal health alliances or immunization partnerships illustrate how coalitions convert fragmented efforts into sustained system level changes. Right based advocacy frames RCH as a human rather than a privilege. It draws on national constitutions and international conventions like Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women and Convention on the Rights of the Child to demand accountability. Legal frameworks ensure governments can be held responsible for failures in service delivery. Empowering communities to claim their rights transforms them from passive recipients to active citizens. Examples of grassroots social action abound. In many villages, safe motherhood campaigns have very successfully demanded ambulance services or skilled birth attendants. Community nutrition committees advocate for functioning Anganwadi centers and proper food distributions. Campaign for clean water and sanitation highlight how community action directly impacts child and maternal health outcomes. Global advocacy has been instrumental in setting targets such as SDGs, which include maternal and child health. International participation of partnerships like Gavi, the Vaccine Alliance, support immunization. Advocacy also secures funding commitments from donor agencies and governments, ensuring resources flow into the RCH programs. Global advocacy creates momentum. These efforts shape the global norms and frames through which states define obligations, recasting maternal and child health as rights rather than discretionary welfare. Translational networks operate via epistemic communities and policy diffusion, translating evidence into standard indicators that enable comparison, accountability, and reputational pressure. Partnerships like Gavi illustrate collective action, pooling risks and procurement power to reduce vaccine prices while investing in delivery systems, cold chain, and community engagement that counter misinformation. Effective global advocacy align policy windows with smart tasks, earmarked funding, equity focused targets, and commitments to gender transformative care. To prevent top down agendas of policy isomorphism, embed country ownership, like co-create national compacts, finance transition plans, and fund civil society watchdogs to monitor budget execution, stock out, and service quality. Finally, close the loop from global to local by funding disaggregated data systems, participatory social accountability mechanisms so communities can verify whether global commitments translate into accessible, dignified RCH services that national campaigns can align with. Professional associations play an often overlooked role in advocacy. Medical nursing associations influence policies by issuing guidelines, lobbying for reforms, and setting ethical standards. Their voices carry authority and can push governments to prioritize maternal and child health. Partnerships with social workers and NGOs enhance their advocacy impact. Advocacy for policy change involves pushing for stronger laws on maternal health, child protection, and adolescent rights. It ensures that adequate budget allocation are made to RCH programs. Monitoring implementation is equally critical as many well intentioned policies fail at the level of delivery. Effective advocacy keeps these issues in public and political spotlight. Building on this, use the policy process lens. Identify Kingdom's policy windows and enter with the smart asks on legal provisions, earmarked funds, and timelines. Pair gender responsive budgeting and benefit incidence analysis to show who actually benefits from RCH spending and argue for reallocations towards high burden blocks. Anticipate the street level bureaucracy. Draft implementable rules, reduce paperwork frictions, and advocate for incentives, supplies, and supervision that frontline workers need. To close the design delivery gap, institutionalize MPDSR reviews, social audits, community scorecards, and RTI enabled public expenditure tracking surveys. So, leakages and stockouts become visible and correctable. Use public financial management tools, medium term expenditure frameworks, quarterly execution reports, and open budgets to track releases versus utilization and demand mid year corrections. Sustain visibility through strategic framing and media. Narrative briefs, op eds, and coalition spokespeople who can translate data into right based claims in the public sphere. Finally, codify accountability loops. Publish commitments, set citizen facing dashboards, and convene periodic public hearings where officials must report progress. Linking policy change to on ground improvements in respectful maternity care, contraceptive access, immunization coverage, and nutrition services. Advocacy in RCH faces challenges. Political resistance may arise when governments view advocacy as criticism, limited financial and human resources, restrict sustained campaigns. Cultural opposition, particularly around issues like contraception or sexuality education, can generate backlash. Navigating these challenges requires persistence, alliances, and culturally sensitive approaches. These barriers reflect power relations and norm entrepreneurs competing to frame morality and gender roles. Anticipate pushback by mapping veto players, gatekeepers, and counter movements, and by practicing moral reframing. Build broad coalitions, professional bodies, women's groups, youth networks, faith leaders open to dialogue, and adopt a collective impact backbone to pool resources, coordinate calendars, and speak with one voice. To address scarcity, design focused smart tasks tied to policy windows and use evidence plus stories to justify incremental wins that accumulate towards structural change. Reduce cultural backlash through participatory co design, employing local languages, community champions, and two step communication via trusted intermediaries. Pair this with safeguarding informed consent and do no harm protocols for storytellers. Finally, institutionalize accountability and learning. After action reviews, social audits, community scorecards, and transparent dashboards. So, critiques are framed as consecutive problem solving, sustaining legitimacy while steadily shifting norms and policy implementation. Strengthening advocacy requires strong evidence generated through research and community documentation. Training local advocates ensures campaigns are led by those directly affected. Media must strategically leverage to amplify messages and build pressure for change. Together, these strategies make advocacy more credible, sustainable, and impactful. Let's talk about a case study of a global advocacy movement, the White Ribbon Alliance, that has successfully influenced maternal health policy. It campaigns for safe motherhood and respectful maternity care, giving voice to women's experiences. By combining grassroots mobilization with national level lobbying, the alliance has secured policy changes and improved accountability in many countries, including India. Build on this view the alliance through a sociological lens of social accountability and norm change. It converts private suffering into public claims by aggregating women's narratives with disaggregated evidence on delays, disrespect, and clinical quality. Using agenda setting and framing, it centers respect and dignity as non negotiable rights, non optional amenities, and couples stories with concrete asks. Companionship at birth, informed consent, redressal, privacy, and zero tolerance for abuse. Organizationally, it exemplifies resource mobilization and the advocacy coalition framework. Community groups surface priorities while professional bodies and policy insiders shepherd reforms through guidelines, budgets, and supervisory systems. In practice, campaigns often link maternal and perinatal death surveillance and response findings with respectful maternity care standards. So, dignity and safety advance together rather than its trade offs. In India and elsewhere, tactics include public hearings, facility charters, client feedback hotlines, and scorecards that make performance visible and negotiable with authorities. Anchoring change in the public sphere while protecting women's anonymity and consent. To sustain gains, WRA style coalitions define smart indicators and publish periodic reports back to communities. Finally, the alliance layered strategy, that is grassroots voice plus national policy windows, demonstrate how respectful care can diffuse as a social norm, embedding right based maternity care into everyday practice rather than one off project. The Right to Food campaign in India is another case study. It is a powerful example of right based advocacy. It successfully linked programs like ICDS and midday meals to legal entitlements, making them enforceable through courts. This advocacy has improved accountability in child nutrition services and demonstrated the power of combating grassroots mobilization with legal action. This is classic legal mobilization. Social movements translate everyday deprivation into justifiable rights, shifting claims from charity to entitlement and reshaping the state citizenship relationship. The campaign's inside outside strategy, public interest litigation, plus community organizing activated policy feedbacks. Once schools and Anganwadis began serving meals as a right, beneficiaries, teachers, and frontline workers formed new expectations and oversight practices to counter street level bureaucracy constraints. Irregular supplies, leakages, stigma. The movement backed social audits, right to information requests, grievance hotlines, and community monitoring of menus, attendance, and ration flows. Framing mattered. Advocates linked meals to learning, gender equality, and equity, enabling alliances with teachers' unions, women's groups, and health professionals while preempting moral panic about freebies. Implementation was treated as political work, mapping power holders, negotiating budgets and logistics, and securing time bound orders for compliance. For accountability, the campaign pushed smart indicators like share of days meals actually served, caloric protein adequacy, ICDS take home rations delivered on schedule, then stock out days, grievance resolution within 30 days, and demanded public dashboards. Finally, the approach centers voice and consent. Like community hearings, child and parent testimonies, and protection against retaliation ensures that legal victories convert into everyday success and access, embedding the right to food within local norms and institutional routines. Measuring advocacy outcomes requires tracking changes beyond awareness. Indicators include new or amended policies, increased budget allocations, and improved health indicators such as maternal mortality or immunization rates. While attribution is complex, advocacy can be linked to systemic shifts that contribute to these outcomes. The future of advocacy in RCH will increasingly rely on digital platforms, where online movements can mobilize rapidly. Youth involvement will be critical as young people bring energy, creativity, and credibility to campaigns. Linking local campaigns with global goals ensures synergy, making advocacy stronger and more visible on multiple levels. To summarize, advocacy and social action are complementary. Advocacy translates awareness into systemic change by influencing policies, budgets, and accountability. Social action mobilizes communities to demand their rights and challenge inequities. Both are essential for advancing reproductive and child health with equity and justice. In conclusion, social action and advocacy remind us that reproductive and child health must be seen as rights, not privileges or charity. They empower communities, influence policies, and ensure accountability. By combining grassroots mobilization with policy lobbying, social action and advocacy ensure that RCH services reach those who need them the most. As we close this lecture for today, I want you to reflect on the idea that real progress in RCH comes when communities actively demand their rights and systems are compelled to respond. Advocacy and social action are not optional. They are integral to health justice. By strengthening these approaches, we can transform policies into meaningful realities for mothers, children, and families. So that's all for today. Thank you so much. Next time we take up lecture number 44, and the topic which we will deal with is role of NGOs and civil societies in reproductive and child health. Thank you.